purpose of this is to try to fit the pieces of the puzzle together, and you couldn't fit them when the shoulder portion was routed in front of your surrogate's torso. Is that right?
That's correct.
Got it. Okay. Now let's
So
move.
for two reasons. One, that the lap belt has put pressure on the shoulder harness. The lap belt tightens because it goes through the pass-through latch plate, and so that held her pelvis more closely in place. That would have been allowed to create the injuries that we saw to both her and Megan. And for the other is that the shoulder harness in front of her body that prevents her upper body from going into the upper part of the seat where we know it's not going to forward.
So you rerouted the shoulder harness behind her torso, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is another view of the same part of the investigation, correct?
Yes, you can see it comes through the lap belt, goes through the pass-through latch plate, and then behind her back up to the D-ring on the seat.
And then when you tilted the vehicle back up again, what did you find?
We find that you get enough additional webbing that comes from the shoulder harness, which was pressed kind of against the back, and so it was held there, and it slides through this latch plate, allows her body to come, I think it measured a little over 5 inches from the seat back, even under the low acceleration or the low G range here, because this is creating about 3/4 of the G forward.
So are you
Also, of course, her upper body is unrestrained and it comes up solidly against the back. And so basically in this situation, she's using the front seat passenger as her airbag, as to give her to ride down as the seat, pushing the seat back and forcing it against the person in front of her.
Is there something about what the first people to arrive at the scene, such as Mr. Finley, said, that also fits with this shoulder portion routed behind the back scenario?
Yes, sir, there is, and that was that none of them reported having seen a shoulder harness on Chelsea, even though they were at that window and trying to maneuver her out of that window.
Now, we've heard testimony from Mr. Finley and Mr. Vance that they were able to get Kelsey Kuhn at least only part way out the window.
Yes, sir.
And tell us what we see here on the screen vis-a-vis your surrogate son.
Well, that is how far Kelsey could get herself out that window with the belt in the position that I just showed you, with starting with the shoulder harness behind her and with the additional lap belt stretch. And that's as far as she could get. And we asked our surrogate not to use her legs to pull herself into that position, because we know that Kelsey had 2 broken femurs. And so she would have had very minimal effectiveness in trying to use her legs to lever herself out.
Mr. Vance testified in his deposition and was reminded of this at trial. And he said when he was pulling on Kelsey Kuhn, it was as if she was seat belted in. How does that testimony fit in with your surrogate son?
Well, it certainly fits with what you would seen up to that point. And also, I don't remember if we included the photograph, but if in that position that we showed you just a moment ago where she's leaning forward, it was very difficult for even our surrogate to reach back and unlatch the belt in that position. So, she could have, that would fit with his description of what he perceived as he was trying to get her out that window.
All right. Now, did all of this analysis allow you to fit the pieces together to tell the story of what happened?
Yes, sir.
So let's turn to that now. First known fact.
Well, based upon Dr. Germain's reconstruction, and this is just to give you an idea of what how much energy there is in a 48.6 mile an hour velocity change. It's just that when the Subaru got hit from the front, it would be the same as if the Subaru was suspended almost 80 feet in the air and then dropped on its nose. So that, just to help you put into perspective what we're really talking about as far as the 50 mile an hour velocity